Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of
Mom and Son Podcast. This is FQ Mom, Rose Fresh, Fausto.
And Anton Fausto. Our guest today is Son No.1, Martin Fausto.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you for joining us here at the show once again.
Of course, my pleasure.
Yeah, so we had Papa already, we had you, hindi ko na. Now we wanna have... I was actually shocked that we haven't talked about your career story yet. It's a very interesting one. Yeah, I thought it was like a given that it was already... Di ba ga?
You forgot that you haven't.
Yeah. So I think it's just right. It's just right to jump into this. So first, for all the listeners, could you please explain what is it that you do?
Okay, so again, my name is Martin or Marty. And to a lot of my friends, I'm also Fausto. And what we do, I actually run a startup company called Brand'eM. I say startup just because we're lean, mean, fighting machine. But we're actually celebrating our 4th year anniversary just this
congratulations.
September.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah. So what we do, we really do brand audits and we create brand stories specifically for SMEs and B2B companies. And the way we define a brand is both external and internal. Do I jump into it or?
Now, maybe you can start by telling our listeners what is a brand audit.
Okay.
Yes.
A brand audit
This is something it took me a while to
understand it. So a brand audit is sort of like a health diagnosis. So imagine going to the doctor or clinic and then just checking your health, like how you are, etc. So a brand audit is similar to that. What we do is check how the brand health of a company is.
So it's a holistic review. It's not just how like the sales are or not just one aspect. You look at all the like
aspects of what we think an effective brand is. So we define it as external branding and internal branding. So external branding is usually what people define branding as, which is the design, how you look out in your, externally, what people see. However, it's my personal mission to also make people understand that a brand is also internal.
Yes.
Meaning, very lecture, no?
Yeah.
Meaning...
But that's good, so that they can understand.
Yeah, so internal branding talks about how people brand themselves. How the people behind the brand brand themselves. So how do they present themselves amongst each other, to their prospective clients, to their current clients. So it has to be aligned. Meaning, if a brand says this outside, sana the people inside would also stand for the same.
So it's getting to the core of it. It's not just because a company is doing well in the sales or it looks like it has a nice image. It has to be true. That's really what the people inside the company stand for as well.
I like how you deal with your clients in the way that you're not just focused on how it appears on the outside, but you really go down into the employees pa, di ba?
Yes.
That's where it starts.
Because Martin is also a Gallup Strengths coach.
Oh yeah, tama yan. So it's like a cake. Hindi pwede puro icing. Kailangan may laman din. Dapat masarap din yung laman.
Okay, so your company is one of the, I would say, rare scenarios when a startup would succeed.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Well, it's been 4 years na, so knock on wood again.
College graduate na yun.
So if ever may mangyaring bad luck in the future, it's not anymore in the first few years. Kasi, is there any study or statistic there on how common it is for a startup to fail? May big percentage.
There is more than half fail in the first 2 years.
In fact, it has to approach 80 to 90% ng mga startups.
Yeah, and people would think that when you start a company or anything, it's really going to lose at first.
Yeah.
That's the common notion.
Yeah, that's the common notion.
And that's the common occurrence.
Also.
Yeah, so we want to dissect the story and to see how did it not. That's the most. That would be at least we can say now for the first years.
So that's a given.
That's nothing that's not gonna change. Okay, let's go first to your story. So you started in Del Monte. How many years? Right after college.
Yeah, so Del Monte was
how
my
many
first
years
job.
was that job?
3 years. I used to handle different brands, both from the culinary category and the beverage category. So for culinary category, I used to handle the mga condiments like ketchup, Del Monte vinegar.
Kaya sagana tayo sa supply ng pantry. Ngayon,
and the relatives also.
Every Christmas, I would give Del Monte gift packs. And then I also helped out with tomato sauce. And after that, I went to beverage category wherein I handled yung mga new products of pineapple juice, such as the ones Bone Smart or Heart Smart, the ones that would give you more calcium and help reduce your cholesterol. Plus, interesting fact, even Tipco juice. People wouldn't know na Del Monte pala siya. But in the Philippines, Del Monte distributes Tipco juice, the vegetable fruit juices.
When you were a student pa lang, did you already have this dream of starting your own company?
No, super big no. That's one of the most honest things I could say.
It's a pleasant surprise, you know?
In college, I used to imagine I'd retire at 50.
Like employee and
Corporate.
go up the ranks.
At least I have a Range Rover with a beach house. That was the vision financially. And then, I'm gonna put up my own. Ang bebenta ko.
How did it change?
How did it change? Actually, when people ask me that, which is quite often, there is no direct answer or trigger. I remembered it was 2015 and I was 25. I guess it was also a bit of quarter life crisis.
2015, how many years? You graduated in
2012.
Okay. So 3 years later, in the beginning of the year, I already had some nudges or pushes. And then I would pray, talk to sina mama and papa often, and just stay in my mind and think, ano pa tong gagawin ko? And then, si Mamang, she was the one who nudged me and said, oh, what if you put up your own? And then I said, anong bibenta ko?
That's what people would usually think. That's a traditional way of looking at a business. Diba? It would be, at least back in the day, quote unquote, back in the day. It's when you put up a business, it's because you're selling something.
Oh,
yeah.
But can I just jump into that, sell something? Because I just read a while ago, the Charlie Munger, the partner of Warren Buffett, said that advice daw niya sa mga youth, don't sell anything that you yourself won't buy. Oh, diba?
Yeah,
that's great, diba?
That's good. And I also heard that one nice question daw to break the ice when you meet someone new, or kahit first date, is if barter trade still exists, what will you offer?
Ooh, I love that also. Okay. So
just like what I was saying, that Brand'eM is sort of pasok sa times when it comes to you're not selling a tangible, concrete thing, but it's
a service.
It's a service.
We were selling our laway.
No, don't say that. We were selling your expertise.
Service.
Can you answer that question? Just barter. Let's go.
Yeah, if barter trade still existed, what will you be offering?
Hosting services and jokes. Baka yun.
Okay.
What I'm doing now, giving advice on how to deal with money and family.
And yours would
Brand'eM.
guessing it would be Brand'eM naman.
Okay, so we're doing
Kasi
pala.
if not, baka yun the wrong line of work.
Biglang iba yung sagot eh.
Okay, as a more simple question, how would Brand'eM, the name, where did you think of this?
Ayan na, look in front of you.
Mama's gonna give you the idea.
Yeah.
With a capital M.
Because
It's a shortcut for branding them. So the focus is on the client.
Pero may subliminal.
In the beginning, my friends were like, "Oh, Brand'eM because you name it, because your name is Martin." Okay, Brand'eM.
Now that you're your own boss, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of challenges that you face. Where did you get the idea of what a boss should be?
Definitely from my Del Monte experience. That for me was a really solid foundation in how to run a company or even run a team. I also look at different people. I watch videos or even read books of the likes of Seth Godin, Donald Miller. Also, Seth Godin's a marketer, tackles marketing in a modern way.
These are all through things you read and watch. No?
Yes.
Mad Men.
Okay lang, yeah. Mad Men's pretty nice. Donald Miller naman put up a company called Story Brand.
Yeah, I like that.
He also has a channel on YouTube called Business Made Simple. So 7-minute videos that just tell you how to run a company, ask for salary raises, how to say no to people, etc.
So you could say na it's not true na you have to work for a long time before you start your own thing. Kasi I would think that before anyone starts their own company, that's not inherited or given to them from, or they work with their parents in it. you need a lot of years of work experience.
It's quite subjective also when you say a lot.
The long is now defined differently, long.
But it really does help for you to go through a system or an organization with structure and people who are older than you, who have more experience than you. Because if you put up your own and
from scratch
at an early age, for example, at 22 years old, it's hard to also be humble enough to accept that you're not yet there.
But 25 isn't much different than a man. It's just 3 years out of 3 years of work, 3 years of working, 3 years right out of college. When did you feel like you were ready to do this on your own?
It was more of, if I do this and I fail, will I fail hard in my career path? Because at 25,
how did you measure that?
Wala, subjective lang. Depending on my ego at the time and what I felt.
Absence of dependence yata, di ba? You didn't have any dependence, so...
Correct. Yeah, correct. And if I failed at that, I would still sleep on the same bed. I would have my investments and savings intact.
Oh, so, of course, I'd like you to a little bit talk a bit more on that. That's where the courage also came from, right?
Correct. So I had my emergency fund, which was worth 6 months of my monthly expenses, and I had my stock investments also. So even if Brand'eM failed, I would still be okay.
For a good number of years, right?
Yeah, for a good number of years. Yeah, for a good number of years. So I was pretty okay. I had the courage to do that, and I was able to save and invest from what I was earning back in Del Monte.
Do you think that if you started saving and investing only when you started in Del Monte, would you have the same courage to pursue this on your own?
No.
So it's really important now from
that's
this.
The
even if you didn't touch it, luckily you didn't have to touch the stocks and what you saved while you were a student. The value that saving gave was the courage and the confidence to do this Brand'eM thing on your own.
Correct. Yes, and that really helped me focus on developing the brand and the company more than, let's say, the operations or the capital expenditures.
Yeah. Can I also jump in on that? And it's because you probably were raised also with frugal means at saka may pagka-prudent. But there are also some families who are really very entrepreneurial na talagang they can just risk it all.
Yeah,
no?
tira lang.
So, kanya-kanyang rin yan. That's what I wanted to make mention.
Kind of game
style. And wiring. And kanya-kanyang wiring. Because sometimes, kung walang-wala, yun din yung magiging pursigido. Yun yung magiging push nila. No?
Correct.
But of course, it's always better to be, well, from my perspective, on the more prudent side na hindi ko naman mang peperwisyo ng oy, pahingi ng pera.
You don't need to have that sob story that started from the ground to be able to reach the sky's the limit.
Correct. What I learned was you make do with what you have, whether it's in knowledge, competence, network, or even capital. And you try to make the most out of what blessings you receive. So, that's also what I learned when I started meeting and talking all these different owners from different industries, whether they're in the industry for 50 years, industry for 2 years. Talagang it really, entrepreneurial life is really tricky on its own, and it's not for everyone. Similarly, the corporate life has its own challenges, and it's also not for everyone.
Yeah.
So you really have to figure out in your 20s where you would survive and thrive.
Yeah.
Being your own boss, I also noticed the way you interact with your employees. There has to be a balance of I'm your boss, but at the same time, we can trust each other. We're friends. Where do you draw the line between being a boss and being a friend?
So I try to put structure in the workplace, and that's my boss side stepping in. And I always think that my team needs a boss more than a friend. Because you have friends outside.
Parenting
Correct. That's what I learned from you rin, that teenagers need a parent more than a friend. Because similarly to my team, they have friends outside Brand'eM. So they don't need another friend. But what they need at Brand'eM is more of a boss. A boss who is clear.
Who is friendly as well.
Friendly also, and not bastos.
There's a difference between being a friend and being friendly. Mas important yung pagiging friendly.
Friendly if you're the boss. Okay. Because if you're let's say
If you only have to choose,
yes, if you only have to choose, if you can be both, why not? But that's the priority.
That's the
I owe it
priority.
to them
To be their leader, no?
yes, to be the leader, to give them direction, to make them grow in their own strength and own light.
Was there a point when you were scared kasi having people work under you, parang nakasalalay yung career nila sa'yo eh?
Oh yeah, I'm directly responsible for their career growth and financial growth.
What is that? What is that thought process like when you were hiring your first employee?
Oh, that time my thought process was I couldn't accept more work anymore because I was just by myself on a regular basis. I still work with others on a project or parang ad hoc style that it only happens or we only work together if there is a project or a client. But the regularity,
Kinda like partners-ish.
yes, the regularity of having somebody there kicked in when I couldn't anymore predict the workload management.
But you also weren't worried na baka, because there are times for sure na you had so much on your plate. But baka were you worried that there are times na baka I'm gonna be kind of making up tasks na lang for him kasi wala pang
Kasi wala
work this
mangyayari.
month or something like that.
Oh yeah, in the beginning it was like that.
Okay.
Like I would come up with a lot of internal projects or
And the training siguro, no?
yeah, training or development for Brand'eM alone. But luckily this time, the past how many months, probably past year, it's come to a point that I have heavy workload from clients, and then we also have heavy internal work. So it's training their skills, their presentation.
So this is whether or not there's a project or a client, you have this internal work that has to be done.
Yes. And then I just said, but it's time to invest more into the people because it'll come back. I think yun. And honestly, 50% of my job is managing people.
Oo nga.
And the other 50% is the actual client work.
Can you walk the listeners through what makes Brand'eM service different from others?
Me? No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
What makes Brand'eM different is that we look at the brand in a more holistic manner. And we actually ask the tough questions. And we're not afraid to do so. We would ask questions to the mismo owner in front of his or her people. Do you trust your people?
Oh my God!
Oh, wow.
Because sometimes it really comes out from our research and our interviews. That the pain point is actually the mistrust or the lack of trust. Or even communication. So it's not, they don't just hire a company that creates their design or helps them with their website, but somebody that will level them up, hopefully. And in order to do that, you have to talk about things that are not usually raised, but are the back of the heads of the people.
Wow. So that would be, I guess that would be the tough part, no? Kasi it's one thing to have them audit your finances, for example, because
Yes.
it's numbers. Like
Yes.
no one
Black
can,
and white, eh.
No one can argue numbers. But this one, there are lots of emotional things in like the relationship between this person and that person.
Correct.
The family dynamics.
Oh, correct. And we I said we serve B2B companies, most of which are family-owned. So, ang daming drama with the first gen, second gen, and even third gen.
What would be the trend of main issues? Would it be the generation to generation?
Yes, it would be
Passing on the baton.
yes, the passing of power, passing of knowledge. The first gen not wanting to let go, but acknowledging that he or she needs to let go already.
May Queen Elizabeth syndrome.
Syndrome.
So how is that? Do you guys have a protocol or like
May structure na.
There's a system.
when it's first gen versus second gen?
Okay.
Who do you favor? May ganun ba? Who do you favor?
We talk to the second gen because that generation, second or third generation, is the one that is more open to change.
Yes. of
But we have to
course.
talk and appease the first generation because they are the
Yes.
signatories. They are the primary client.
Yeah.
But second
Sila
gen,
kanila yung nagaling yung company in the first place.
yes, and they're the ones signing the checks for our
Yeah.
for our billing statements. No, but second and third gen, they're the ones who are also feeling a bit guilty that if they don't perform well, masasayang yung ginawa ng
Oo.
parents.
Nasa kanila yung pressure.
Yes,
Oo.
nasa kanila yung pressure to excel and to level up their company.
What's that saying again? The first generation builds it.
Builds
The
it,
second
second-
grows it.
The third squanders.
Squander.
So we don't want that to happen. But at the end of the day, whether you're the first, second, third, fourth, etc. generation, you really just want to have a good company that will help the people around you and make you earn a living.
There's this interesting thing that I heard that you guys do, which is called the industry research. Where did you come up with the idea? And what is industry research?
So an industry research is something we do internally every month, and we assign topics that are of interest to us and that can be helpful to our clients in the future.
How do you pick what topics to?
Oh, I just pick when I take a shower. But
Kind of
I just
based like on what you see, sort of like talking about pop culture, but
yes,
in a more
like what can we use? What
research.
information can we use? Like before we did an IR or an industry research on Philippine cinema.
Okay.
To show the evolution of storytelling, because we do brand storytelling. We also talked about circadian rhythm, because
Circadian rhythm.
yeah, so it's sort of like your body clock, or what time of the day are you most productive.
That's circadian.
Yes.
Rhythm. Yeah, and it's different per person. And kasi, why did we do that? Millennials and Gen Z, they don't really look at work as a 9-to-5 job.
Anymore,
Unlike
no?
before.
Unlike
Yeah.
my generation.
That you're forced to be productive from 9 to 5. But now, you
I like
can
that.
have spurts of productivity
Yes.
and lows. So you have peaks and lows throughout the day.
Yes.
So Marty, can they, even if they don't want to hire you yet as their brand consultant, can they?
Yet.
No, yet. Can they just ask?
Brand'eM.ph.
Can they just ask for a study for a fee? Pwede na yun. They can
Yes.
just get in touch with you, ano?
Yes.
So, halimbawa, I'm thinking of, baka I can make use of the research on
And we're
circadian rhythm.
correct. And we actually plan to release certain parang top line data points on that in our website in the coming months.
And this is because when we talk about research in general, or even the ones we use in college and thesis, ganun, it's usually international.
Yes.
Lots of it is research on the States.
American,
Yeah.
Western
Oh, yeah,
style.
yeah.
So what
you
I
have-
always push is Filipino,
Pinoy.
if not
Filipino.
Asian.
Kasi syempre, even
Iba
though,
pa rin.
even if those studies are credible and it's backed up by funds,
A lot of
iba
funds
naman
and
yung
research.
iba naman yung mindset and yung behaviors ng ibang tao based on
Yeah.
what country they're
Correct.
from.
Culture.
So sometimes IRs would require the team to go out, field work, act as the customer, ask the question from the
Interesting,
salespeople.
Where did you get this idea to make this industry research?
Oh, you have to really do that.
Like other ideas. it
Every
just
company,
happens.
does every company have their own
When
industry
my
research?
first job, we do that to create a credit study. So
in the finance world.
yes, so if a company is borrowing money from us, depends about it's a restaurant.
So
we
you need
have
to know about restaurants.
industry study.
Correct.
So it's a thing. Okay.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was
but
a
what
thing.
he's doing is he's just really surveying the industries.
Yes.
Para bang,
Because we
even
serve-
if there's no client yet, diba? That's what
Yes.
you do. Yeah.
It's just beefing up your...
Yes,
Information
the
data
arsenal.
bank. So because what we do is
Did you have one? Was there like that in Del Monte?
it was called an IR, but it was more of an innovation. So what new products do you want to propose? But
That's different.
That's
That's
different. But what they have is already subscription to Nielsen or World or Kantar.
Because to think of the future products, you need to know
What's happening now? and what are the
how
needs
people
now.
think,
in
how
the
the customers
industry.
think.
Yeah. So what we do is even if we're lean machine, we try to also beef up our information data bank so that if in case we deal with somebody or a brand within that industry, we already have something to offer.
Yeah. So, what you're trying to do now is to put structure in that study. Kasi syempre,
Yes.
pag mag-google ka, diba, kung ano-ano rin yung mga
Lalabas.
information na lalabas. Yours is already vetted source and
Resources.
actual...
But it's hard to look for Filipino and Asian sources.
Yeah.
A
And
lot
that's
of
why, and I
our
think that's
sources
a good
are
thing that you
American.
have to beef that up, para meron kang Pinoy talaga.
You will become the source. parang
Yes.
ganun.
And that's also a training then for the team of how
Yeah,
to
yeah.
research, filter out the information, vet information, and even present the information. So what we do is really brand storytelling. So
And it would be the exercise na rin of researching and yung filtering the information and presenting it. That exercise
Yes.
of doing it again and again.
yes, because regardless of your function at Brand'eM, I want you to have the basic skill set of being a storyteller, which is based on research, filtered data and present it in a way that is good and relevant to your audience.
Yeah. And the continuing study, maybe you can talk about that also. You've been taking both online and on.
Yes. So that's the thing. If you're your own boss,
that's the challenge.
Yeah.
Who will tell you no? So I actually encourage my team to ask questions and even tell me no. But sometimes it's just human nature. So what I do is I search for information and knowledge outside. So I subscribe or go through different online courses.
Seth
Godin. I would read, well, quote unquote, read books because I would just listen to audiobooks in the traffic during when I
still consider that. I count that as a book.
Oh, and you're going to study as well.
Yeah, I'm going to Kellogg at Northwestern University in Chicago to study B2B branding. So it's very specific.
Can you just define what B2B is?
Oh, B2B is business to business. Okay. So this is when a company serves other businesses and not direct to the customers. So example, if let's say
you are a
B2B.
B2B.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Okay. Yes. So for example, you sell ice cream.
Okay.
And then I will sell you the cream. So our engagement is B2B. And when you sell it to, let's say, Mama, who is a customer,
who's gonna eat it?
That's B2C, business to customer.
Okay, because it's the
business to consumer.
Yes. Okay. You mentioned the challenges of being your own boss. How do you measure success since no one's telling you naman if you are doing a good job or a bad job? How do you measure the company's success?
The company success or our work success?
Any.
I'm not sure actually what the difference is right now, but
okay, the company success is if we're meeting our sales targets,
making money. Okay.
People are engaged, the word spreading, those things. Our work success is dependent upon
is the growth of the employees.
Yes, it can be like feedback of the task force team that we've worked with in terms of understanding their brand better. It can be increased sales. It can be a timely execution. But overall, it's when we're able to create a brand story that we can build on the next time we talk to them. It's not something that is a one-time, big-time thing. And this is something I learned also from one of my mentors from the advertising industry. That you create a brand that people can talk about is still in the future.
Sorry, again.
It's when you're able to create a brand that can still be talked about in the same manner.
Hindi malalaos.
Yes, in the years to come. For example, like in the Philippines, we are the country that created the likes of Jollibee, Lucky Me. So they went up against KFC, McDonald's, Maggi noodles, and here sila na yung bida. And even with our nephew and niece, Antonina and Audrey, without even tasting Jollibee yet, they already have that sort of same feeling with the brand.
That if it works with babies pa lang.
Oh, like, diba, right now, Jollibee, langhap, sarap. I mean, it's still being used up to now.
How about branding yourself?
As Martin Fausto?
No. The people, will you be coming up with something that, alam mo na, lalo na the young people now, they want to have their own brand. Parang, will you come up with like a workshop for individual branding? Because really, when you put yourself out there, you're already expressing yourself as a brand.
Correct.
Parang may pagkaganon. Weird as it may sound, kasi we're supposed to be persons. Meron na talagang ganon, ano? That would be an interesting...
And that's actually one of the things I keep pushing back. Creating a Brand'eM workshop series. Brand'eM branding workshop series.
So can we commit you now while you're on air?
No! Next year. Okay. 2020.
2030, first quarter, second. Kellogg muna.
Yeah, I'll get information, frameworks, etc. But yeah, we'd want to do it, especially for SMEs and even for fresh grads when they brand themselves to in creating a business or applying for a job in a company.
Siguro we should commit to each other. When do I release my behavioral economics workshop and your branding workshop?
When will you release yours?
Yun nga magano na tayo.
Hintayan na. Okay, last question na. You touched on the topic of teaching. Can you give us and the listeners a mini lesson?
Okay.
Based on your industry research and your experience, how does this generation perceive what a good brand is?
Oh, I like that. Say that again. Okay. Can you say that again?
How does this generation perceive what a good brand is?
Okay.
A good brand is something that they say, quote unquote, is authentic. Why do I put quote unquote? Because reality is personal. It will only talk to you if you pay attention to it and if it's relevant to you. But a good brand can exist and not touch you. So the question really, ako nagpalit ng question eh. It's not so much if how a brand becomes good, but how a brand becomes effective. And that is when the brand is able to tell you his or her or its or their his, her, or its story, Gen Z, its story, without you having to ask questions to clarify.
It's clear.
Bongga.
It's clear.
Clarity is really number one.
Okay.
Dami mga quotable quotes
Daming
dyan.
lessons
Kailangan
dyan.
sabihin mo kay Abby, i-poster na niya lahat yun.
Last, now, where can people, if they're curious about what you guys do, or they want to get in touch with you, how can they do so?
Oh, they can reach us through our website at www.brandem.ph. We also have our own Facebook and Instagram accounts at Brand'eM Consultancy.
And if they want to shoot you an email,
oh yeah, you can also email me. Send me an email at martinfausto@brandem.ph. That's martinfausto@brandem.ph. BRANDEM.ph.
Yeah, it doesn't matter naman kung naka-capital letters or...
yeah.
Okay, sorry. Pinaka-last na. Quick advice to people who are thinking of doing what you do, start their own thing, but they're still scared, they're young, they think they're inexperienced.
It's better to start than be perfect. So in the process, you will really have to change, alter, and iterate whatever you're offering, but you just have to start.
Wow.
Okay, all right.
Just do it.
That's it. Martin Fausto of Brand'eM.
Thank you also for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to that episode of
Mom and Son Podcast. This has been Rose Fresh Fausto, the mom.
And Anton Fausto, the son. See you guys again next week. Bye. Mom and Son Podcast airs every Tuesday at 7 a.m. or anytime at your convenience and can be streamed on Spotify, Buzzsprout, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Just search Mom and Son Podcast for your weekly dose of family, finance, passions, and everything in between. For all questions and suggestions on topics or people to interview, email us at antonfausto@gmail.com.